Good morning and welcome to Phang Nga province in Thailand, and we're at the Tham Luang beach, better known by some as Turtle Beach. Why? Because, well, turtles come back and they lay their eggs here during the turtle laying season, which is sort of roughly November to March each year. I think we had around about I can remember about 15 different turtles and their nests found, and they're heavily protected, and they're usually taken back, and they raise them until, rather than little turtles coming out of their egg and trying to get to the sea and, well, you know, having a very small survival rate, they take them back to these turtle rehabilitation centres, and they get them up to about this size, and then in March each year they launch them. Release is probably a better word than to the Andaman Sea. So we've got a slightly different setup today. During this week, we bought this little microphone, very cool little mic, and hang on, there it is in the frame. It's a Onnikuma. Not a terribly well-known brand, but I looked at the reviews and it seems to do the job. As long as you can hear me, that's the main thing. Because that one, that sort of died after about 12 years of very faithful service. It eventually gave up the ghost. So thank you to everybody who have tuned in this morning. And we've got quite a few things to talk about, both in the news, from questions that you asked over the past 24 hours on the community page, and also here on the chat. I'm going to make sure we can get the chat onto the screen for the next show, so you can sort of follow. Well, I suppose if you're watching live, you can follow the chat anyway. Why bother? Good question. So hello to SKA Face, Rock Trip on This, who says, talking about the thumbnail, that I have a co-pilot. We'll get to Daisy a little bit later. Swaddy Krupp from Melbourne, John D. Greetings from Chumpai, heading to Bangkok today, last time before I retire. Good morning all, says Daryl McGee. DT says, they say a dog is man's best friend. Daisy looks like she's having the time of her life, road tripping with a big smile. Great thumbnail. By the way, I was stationary when I took the photo. So those people saying, oh, why weren't you wearing a seatbelt? Like you got nothing better to talk about. I was stationary at the time. Tim must have changed. His moniker on YouTube is now Rock Trip, apparently. Good morning, everyone, from David Hodgson. We had a hell of a storm up here in Sakon Nakhon last night. At least I don't have to water the garden. Yes, I understand there are quite a few areas up in northern Thailand that had very heavy rains and big storms last night. Now, this is not so much the onset of the wet season. These are these summer storms that collect a whole lot of moist air rising into the sky. We get them from time to time, quite randomly, and you see them sort of rising up into the skies, these huge cumulus nimbus clouds, and then eventually they collect enough rain and they dump it. And at this time of the year, we sort of look out to the east to see them approaching. And when they arrive with quite a lot of force. Hello from beautiful Phuket, says Hans Schellenberg. Hello, Hans. Tim's driving Miss Daisy. I am indeed. Daisy? Come on, Daisy, come here. Not terribly obedient. Daisy, come on, come here. Come and say hello. Daisy. She's getting quite big, so she's a bit of a handful to pick up now, aren't you? You're a bit of a lump. Oh! So this is the little pup that wandered into the house 3 weeks ago. But Daisy is, as you can see, growing into quite a big dog. But still very friendly. You're looking like you're sort of stunned and you don't know what to do. Anyway, Daisy, and we're going to have a talk about soy dogs now. Do you want to say anything? Do you want to complain about the food? Guess who's sleeping on the bed already? Right, thank you, Miss Daisy. Off you go. Thanks for dropping in. So I just wanted to have a talk about soy dogs. Now, I've got two cats and one dog, all that have just wandered in. Well, not quite. Dusty, I inherited her because the office staff, hello Kun Mum, decided they were going to leave her at the office when we moved office. I said, you can't leave the office, cat. You've been nurturing and looking after this creature for the past couple of years. So, anyway, I took Dusty home, and Dusty's just a lovely old cat. Dina just walked in off the street, sat there going, oh, nobody loves me, nobody feeds me. So I thought, oh, just one meal. Anyway, that was 4 years ago, and Dina's still hanging around. Soy dogs and soy cats are a thing, and it's pretty much a phenomenon of the way that Thais treat the issue of desexing, neutering dogs and cats. And they largely don't particularly like the practice. It's not promoted by the provincial governments, the provinces or the provincial governments, although they're very happy when people do something to counter the problems of soy dogs. Now, probably the best known soy dog story is that of John and Jill Daly in Phuket, who founded the Soy Dog Foundation. And that journey has had a profound effect, hello Daisy, on now you turn up, on the soy dog issue, particularly in Phuket, and soy cats as well. I suppose the cats are just less seen, they're less obvious. They can sort of look after themselves a bit better than the dogs, which tend to hang around restaurants and people that will feed them, and that's sort of where they stay. That becomes their pack, their HQ. So John and Jill Daly, they founded Soy Dog Foundation. The idea was to protect, to capture, rehabilitate, neuter, and then release the dogs. So once they're released back to what they call home, then they wouldn't be producing more puppies or kittens. And over a period of around about a decade, Phuket's soy dog issue was reduced by about, people estimate, 90 to 95%. A huge change to the livelihood of the soy dogs and the soy cats in Phuket, reducing the populations, reducing the danger of these dogs and cats running out on streets, causing problems, hanging around, maybe even attacking people from time to time. So I'd like to know what you think about soy dogs and soy cats. I'm glad to say that the vet that we go to here in Thailand, they're quite happy to neuter the Daisy and the cats. But some vets won't. They simply say, oh no, we don't do that. So you have to go and find a vet that does. I think generally there are more vets around these days who are happy to undergo a neutering of an animal, and also at that time of a dog or a cat's life when they're in some sort of awful pain, unable to look after themselves, clearly not enjoying their life, and us humans from time to time, I've had to do it myself, have to make that decision to have the animal put down. Well, the Thais don't like that either. And it really just goes back to their Buddhist beliefs. And they believe that, basically nature takes its own course. So interested to know what you think about the issue of soy dogs and soy cats. I mean, they are ubiquitous. Wherever you go in Thailand, you're going to see particularly soy dogs and to a lesser extent soy cats. But believe me, I mean, the cats breed as much as the stray cats breed as much as the stray dogs. They're just a little bit less obvious because they can hang around in the wild and look after themselves, whereas the dogs tend to gravitate to where the humans are so they can get a feed. So Bill G notes that they say that a master and their dog tend to look alike. Well, I mean, I've had different dogs over my life. I've had about 5 dogs. Tinkerbell was the first one, but I didn't name Tinkerbell. There was Spudge, I named that one, Harley, Molly, famous, everybody knew Molly, and now we've got Daisy. So One was a boy. So two of them were boys, the rest were girls. I don't sort of have any preference. I mean, they've all just been great dogs. Most of them border collies. But in this case, Daisy just wandered off the street, jumped up on the sofa and said, "This is where I'm staying." And that's what happened. Got a great cup of coffee. We have to find out where this coffee comes from because it's very good. I think it's from Amazon. It's like that comes in like a tea bag, but it's coffee. And it's, freshly ground and tastes great. So well done, Amazon. Shano Traveller says, greeting lads from Melbourne. I do want to have a talk about YouTubers behaving badly, which has been a bit of an issue this week as well. Scott D, hello from Chicago. I've been scanning my late grandmother's almost 102 photo collection with some photos dating back nearly a century. Scott, what a journey. That'd be fascinating. Tim Scott says, hello peeps. Tim here from the southeast of South Dakota. Tim looks happy with Daisy at his shoulder. Great photo. Frank is moving to the Philippines. We're not quite sure why. It says he's having health problems with Thailand's air pollution. I take it, Frank, that you're up in the north. Cats adopt the human. Soy dogs and cats are better behaved than most tourists, says Scallums. Gunnar Hopstead, good morning from Hua Hin, Duang Pantawong. What a cutie indeed. Daisy is one of the luckiest dogs in Phuket. Well, we're up in Thailand. Pretty obvious when you look around the soy dogs in the area. A lot of them sort of look like Daisy with the black snout and the wrinkles. And Daisy is now happily ensconced under the chair. TNR is a little controversial, but I think it's better than doing nothing. TNR. Trap, neuter, release. I'm just making that up, Bill. I hope I'm... So I'm not sure why it would be controversial. Doing nothing, I think, is the worst thing you can do with the soy dog problem. And it's not only in Thailand, but it is a particular problem and a cultural issue in Thailand. Capturing the animals, I suppose that needs to be done in a humane way, but assuming it is, then neutering them, rehabilitate them, in other words, deworm them, get the fleas off them or give them a haircut, whatever it might be, and then find them a home if you can before releasing them back. I'm not sure why it would be controversial, Bill. Certainly it seems to be the best way to handle it for the animal and for the population of people around them. And we've got a super chat. Just like to acknowledge our super chat. Scott D, Alderman Napolitano and the City of Chicago will be honouring my late grandmother on Friday, May the 10th at 5 p.m. at the corner of Never and Hood. The 6,000 block of Never will be unveiled as Helen Barron Way. Well, congratulations to the Barron family, and what a great honour. So you're going to have a street named after you in Chicago, after your family, after your grandmother. That is fabulous. Well done. I think there might have been another super chat come through. Daryl McGee, thank you very much. Daryl, all the way there, says, keep it up. I'm going to. So, look, tell us what you think about the soy dogs and the soy cats. Have you taken one in? Have you been attacked by one? Well, I've been attacked by a dog and a cat. Dusty, which was an accident, I think. The soy dog around the corner here, which I've never sort of seen since. Mind you, I didn't get a good look at it because it all happened in a couple of seconds. But yeah, I was bitten by a soy dog. So there are quite a few soy dogs around this area of Turtle Beach. I think generally they're being looked after, but I did notice about a month ago when there were quite a lot of humans around for the high season that the soy dog population suddenly dropped. Now, I'm hoping that dogs maybe just went on a holiday, but maybe they were rounded up. I'm not particularly sure, but there you go. What else can we say? Hello, how are you doing today? That's from VK Travel Log. I think you just skipped a few keys there. Bronson says, hello, folks. Tim, okay. Tim, hello, Tim. How are you doing today? Thank you very much. KC says, why did YouTube strike you for reporting on the poorly behaved Brit vlogger? Okay, yes, I was demonetized yesterday. This happens from time to time. Now, I've actually had a pretty clean record for the last 3 months, behaving myself as a good YouTuber. But yesterday I got flagged and demonetized. What happened? And it wasn't about the YouTube. What did you think it was? The YouTube something or other. I've lost it. Oh, here we are. For reporting on the poorly behaved Brit vlogger. No. It wasn't that. And we'll get to the Brit vlogger and the American vlogger in just a moment in our little segment of YouTubers behaving badly. They're suddenly pricking up their ears. So yesterday there were 2 stories about suicide. There was one about a Russian man who jumped into a canal in Bangkok after doing self-harm. Now, it was the description that I read out from the publication, I think it was the Bangkok Post, about how he went about it, and I should have thought twice. Now, the other one was about a maid on Koh Samui who earned the estate of a 69-year-old French lady who also disposed of herself in a means that was described in the story. So I thought, oh God! So I cut out that part of the story about the French woman, and when YouTube takes about an hour or so to actually do the cut, and then to reassess the video, and for a short time it was given a green light again. And I didn't realise until later in the day, there was the other segment about that Russian guy, but it got too late. Anyway, I mean, I only lost about 20% of my traffic. I still got quite a bit of traffic for the video, but a lot of people, it's not going to be encouraged by YouTube. It's not going to be posted or sent out to other people. So that's why I was demonetized yesterday. I did put if you're having trouble, emotional problems, you need to speak to somebody, here are the phone numbers, which I usually do when I report on these matters. I just think it's easier not to report those issues because YouTube's very flaky about the situation. I know when I used to do read news on Fox FM, Gold FM, Triple M FM in Melbourne, we just had a rule about not doing any suicide stories at all. It was just an unwritten law. And that was pretty much an unwritten rule between journalists and the officials and constabulary in Melbourne. I think probably other places around Australia as well. And I'm not sure if that still exists today, but I really need to avoid doing those stories. And I only do them when I think they are potentially of some sort of importance or interest. Okay, let's have a talk about what I'll do first, we'll have a talk about the YouTubers behaving badly in a moment. But I will address firstly, here we go. People sent in questions yesterday. I usually on the Friday put up a post on the community section of the YouTube page, which people on YouTube may see come up on their phone, asking if anybody's got any pre-questions. So let's go to those. And if you were on the brink of starvation but held the key to save mankind from obliteration and Steve Ross gave you his blessing, would you eat him? No. Good morning, Tim. Thank you for your news and current affairs and keeping us informed of what is happening in Thailand. Much appreciated. I would like to know if the Thailand government has looked at the feasibility of water bombing the fires around Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai. Yes, they have. They have got some water bombing equipped aircraft. They just bought a new one recently. They're not big, but they do have some. I think they've got a helicopter and one aircraft that are capable of water bombing. They do use them. But there's a lot of politics with this whole fire problem up in the north and the smoke and the whole thing. And it's a lot to do with the multinationals and their contracts with the Thai farmers, which is one reason that a lot of these fires don't get put out. Enough on that. I do want to do a bigger story about it when the smoke clears, let's say. Let's go to the next one. There was talk about the 300 baht arrival tax fee going towards a type of tourist medical insurance, which made sense to me. Now the 300 baht arrival fee is going towards infrastructure. So look, on that one, this keeps on appearing. I don't know. It's probably not going to happen. There's some people in the tourism industry that don't believe enough gets spent on tourism promotion or tourism infrastructure, and they're falling back on this 300 baht arrival fee as the way of sorting things out. I don't think it's going to happen. There's already a departure tax, and as some people said, they should just add the 300 baht on the departure tax, and people wouldn't even notice. Thailand's not the only place that has arrival taxes or departure taxes or tourist taxes. Places with a lot of tourism do have different taxes in place. So there's nothing unusual about Thailand doing it. So people getting all lemon-lipped and going, oh, I'm not going to come to Thailand because I've got to pay a tourism tax. Well, it's all just part of keeping the tourism industry sort of flowing and moving. Thailand, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to throw a lot of money at the tourism beyond marketing tourism with these road shows around the world. Very expensive, and they pack up and go to all the big travel expos, and they encouraged agents around the world to send people to Thailand, which they do. Then all the tourists come and they complain because there's not enough rubbish bins at the beach or because there's long immigration queues. So Thailand seems very good at marketing the country, but not so good at providing the very best. This might be seen as dissing Thailand. I'm not. Just making a general comment. May not be quite as good as then providing the best tourism experience. That's just my thought, my opinion. Let's go to the next one. Good morning from Bangkok. Just curious if, for whatever reason, you were not able to stay in Turtle Beach anymore, just hypothetically, where would you think you would go? There is a beach on the pretty much the other side of this Isthmus of Kra, where we live. Basically, it's the Malay Peninsula. And if you go directly across from Phang Nga to the opposite side on the Gulf of Thailand, there is a range of beaches just south of Don Sak, which is part of Suratani, which is where you go across to Koh Samui, Koh Tao, and Koh Phangan. And yeah, there's a sort of a range of beaches there. I'm going to go and check them out. I'm actually doing a road trip, either this week or the week after, driving my Mercedes up to Bangkok. I might put it on a truck and ship it up, but if otherwise, I'm going to do it over about 3 days and stop off at some of these other relatively remote beaches that might become places that I could go if I had to move from Turtle Beach, if the soy dogs ganged up against me or whatever. So, yeah, we'll just have to see. But I've always said if Thailand kicked me out for whatever reason, I'd probably go to Penang. It's quite a similar sort of island vibe to Phuket. In the broader sense, it's roughly about the same size. It's got Georgetown, which is sort of similar to Phuket town. Great culinary vibe there, good food, international. It's got quite a thriving IT industry. The beaches are shit, but yeah, I wouldn't encourage it. Daisy talking to Dina. Dina doesn't particularly like Daisy yet. You might hear some. So, yeah, if I was kicked out of Thailand, I'd probably go to Penang. We'll see how we go. I don't think it's going to happen. Question, have you ever been to Soy Dog Foundation in North Phuket? Oh, a number of times. I've been there probably 5 or 6 times doing interviews. Interviewed John Daly a number of times and Jill when she was alive. I rate their work. I sometimes think they go a bit overboard with their marketing, very sort of negative marketing that they use these days to attract ongoing funds. They've got quite a big operation these days. And I sometimes wonder whether they go a bit too hard on the sort of the negative marketing. But obviously they've got much cleverer people than me doing their marketing, and that's what they believe attracts the funds. The next question from people who are posting their questions over the last few days. Would love to hear about your cost of living in Thailand. Oh, look, there are 1,000 vlogs. Every YouTuber in Thailand has done one about the cost of living. Look, on this particular house, I spend about 10,000 baht a month. Mind you, I sort of had to rebuild it, and I've got a 10-year lease over this property. It's not the house; it's the property that I've leased. What do I spend each day? I'd have breakfast at home. I have lunch and dinner usually out. I might spend between 100 and 200 baht on each of those meals. You work it out. I've got my health insurance, which is about 45,000 baht a year. The cost of running the car is... what's the cost of running the car? Well, it's got maybe about 1,500 baht a week in fuel. Used to be 1,000 baht, so the cost of fuel certainly gone up. I've got my annual renewal fee for my B visa and the work permit and stuff. I can't remember what that is. It's probably under 10,000 baht. Or if I get a agent to do it, which I've had done in the past, it usually costs about 30,000 baht for an agent to do that job. Look, they're just some of my costs, but look, every single person is going to have different preferences. They want to stay in a different part of Thailand. If you want to stay on the west coast of Phuket, it's going to be expensive. If you want to stay somewhere near Sukhumvit Road in Bangkok, it's going to be expensive. If you want to be between the beach and the first road in Pattaya, it's going to be expensive. But if you move out of those main tourist zones, it's going to be cheaper. If you go to live in Udon Whoop Whoop up in northeast Thailand, it's going to be substantially cheaper. So horses for courses, what do you want out of your life in Thailand? There is no one size fits all. And that's why these videos about how much does it cost to live in Thailand, or I can live in Thailand for $1,000 a month. Well, most people couldn't, and most people wouldn't want to, because you'd be sort of living a fairly ordinary life, and we've only got one of them, so let's make sure it's not ordinary. I certainly couldn't live for $1,000, US dollars a month. More of those questions. Let's see. I suggest a name change to Grumpy Old Man and One Joke Thief. No idea what that's about. Any news on the New Zealand Brothers? Brilliant show, by the way. I did a story on TNT. I think Friday last week. There was a story in Phuket-go.com about the New Zealand brothers. They were still incarcerated in Phuket. I'm not sure if they were in the courthouse or in the main jail up in Talang, and they were awaiting a court date. They were awaiting a trial date, and they were visited by an official from New Zealand, I think on Thursday last week. That's about all I can tell you about the New Zealand brothers. Hi Tim, hope you're well. I'm not sure how good you speak Thai language. Have you taken any tuition to learn it? Can you give any recommendations as far as learning? Oh, okay. Look, so I'm ashamed to say that my Thai language skills are appalling. I don't think they're getting any better, to be honest. I think all the Thai I learned was in the first 3 months I was here. I don't seem to have the brain cells or the connectivity between my neurons to be able to learn a new language. Now, I did 7 years of French at school, and heaven knows my French is just about as bad as my Thai. I just don't think I am of the fit that can learn other languages. I think it's one of those things, it's just in your DNA. You're either good at learning languages or not. I mean, I can barely speak English. So I'm afraid I've tried 3 different ways. I tried going to the lessons and learning the squiggles and the grammar. I've tried doing different YouTube courses where you sort of learn a word a day, and it like goes in here and it goes out there. And then I've tried to learn with Thai friends different types of conversational Thai. So learning phrases that I might need to use. So again, you sort of remember it for 5 minutes, and then when you wake up the next morning, you've forgotten it. Well, I've forgotten it anyway. So again, there's no one size fits all when it comes to learning Thai. Everybody's going to have their own ways of learning. I would recommend that learning Thai is definitely worthwhile if you're going to live in the country. You will get a lot more experience if you can speak some Thai. I limit my experience, not because I want to, not because I really haven't tried, not through want of trying. It's just that my brain doesn't seem to be able to understand and comprehend Thai language. Now, maybe I would be better at learning Latin languages, but then again, I did try French, and as I said, 7 years of school, I must have slept through all those classes, because I remember going to France and trying to speak French to the French. I had no idea what I was talking about. Then again, either did I. So I don't really have a recommendation. I would try going to some classes, try a private tutor, find out what works for you, what is the best way for you to learn. Immersing yourself with Thai people around you and just practicing and learning with them is also a really good way, and probably that's the way that I learn any new phrases, just because maybe I've got a personal interaction, I've got a memory, I've got something to base that learning on. It's up to everybody to do it their way. Have you heard anything about the rubbish strewn around Rawai? Rawai's in southern Phuket. I've never seen it so bad. Our sand beach is in an awful state. 2, it saddens me to see what's happening. I don't really have any comment. I haven't been down to Rawai recently, but very sad. I'm not sure if they've got some problems with dumping the rubbish at the moment. I don't know. Sorry, I can't help. Hi Tim, what was the outcome of what looked like a large piece of aeroplane that was washed up on the beach a while back? David Hornbrook from the UK. I don't know, David. I can't recall that story. Maybe you could send me a link to the story and I can make some comments on it. And you can send me any emails on timnewtontoday@gmail.com. timnewtontoday, or one word, @gmail.com. Sorry, David, I can't help with that one. Hello, Mrs. Newton and Ross. Okay, I'll address that on the Grumpy Old Men program. And I'm semi-retired and spent 6 months a year in rural Udon Thani, but soon retiring fully. It's been the hottest I can remember visiting Thailand. 20 days reaching 40 degrees or more. Can you recall it being hotter? And if this climate change is real, I'm now convinced, could Thailand become too hot to handle? Some big questions there. Thank you to Between Drinks. It has been very hot. I mean, I've sort of got myself into a routine. I mean, the mornings and the evenings are spectacular, let me tell you. Nice and warm, but a lot cooler than during the daytime. In the heat of the day, I usually do most of my work. So I'll go and find an air-conditioned cafe. I'll go into the bedroom here, which is air-conditioned, and I'll do 3 or 4 hours work in the heat of the day. Then I'll go down to the beach later in the afternoon and have a swim to cool down. So I suppose we all find our ways of coping with it. Luckily here along the beach, we do tend to get some sort of sea breeze. 95% of the afternoons, most of the afternoons, we'll get a sea breeze coming in, which is quite cooling. So I can't really say any more than that. I'm not qualified to comment on climate change, although from what I've read, it does appear to be a phenomenon that we are having to cope with. Certainly overall, the Earth statistically is heating up. That's irrefutable. So acknowledging whether this is a cyclic thing, whether it's something that's going to get worse and that is going to be an existential threat to humans, maybe not in my lifetime, but certainly for the human race in the future. Clearly, my best thought is that we're better trying to cope with the environment better than we have in the past, because if there is a possibility that we're causing the climate change, then better to hedge our bets, and it's better for the environment anyway if we can come up with other sources of fuel, because we need to imagine a future when we can't drag things out of the ground. We're going to have to create energy in some other way. So I would say hedging our bets is the smart thing to do, and erring on the possibility that we are causing the climate change, I think is just a smart thing for us to do as a species. Now, as a species, we've only been around for 100 to 150,000 years, an absolute microscopic small part of the history of the Earth. The dinosaurs were around for, I don't know, millions and millions of years. I mean, I know that they died out 65 million years ago, but I think they were around for about 100, 200 million years. So the dinosaurs were around a lot longer than us humans, and we've certainly made a profound change in those 150,000 years, especially the last 500 years. And we need to perhaps curb what we're doing and slow things down. Otherwise, we may be responsible as just one species on this vast planet of causing our own destruction. Just consider this, as I've considered it. We may be, given the evidence we currently have, the only intelligent life in this universe. Now, it's probably unlikely, but it is a possibility. And if we are, given the fact that we have no other proof otherwise, we should do something about maintaining our species and looking after our backyard, because we haven't done a good job of looking after our backyard over the past 100 years. And this generation will go down as probably the most polluting, selfish generation in the future, and sad if we're going to be remembered as such, but that's probably the way that will go down. Anyway, I've done my... That's the questions that came in during the week. Hopefully I gave you honest answers. The Snives has been extremely generous. The Snives, thank you very much. The Snive says, I'm getting married to my Thai 90-day fiancé. I'm getting married to my Thai 90-day fiancé tomorrow at noon. Treats for the divas in celebration. The Snives, I'm trying to decode all that. My Thai 90-day fiancé. So you've known her only for 90 days. Okay, well that's fair enough. Congratulations. Treats for the divas in celebration. Maybe that's for me. Maybe I'm the diva. Anyway, Snives, congratulations. You're getting married, so as long as you're happy, that's the main thing. So good luck with your celebrations, and thank you very much for your generosity to the program. I don't want to miss any super chats. I've got a lot of questions here. Mark Hawley, yesterday's video, for me at least, pooped up with a viewer discretion warning. Maybe this leads to demonetized. Yes, it was demonetized, and therefore people get a viewer discretion warning. And as I mentioned, it was because I mentioned the topic of which YouTube doesn't like. Wazza Oz asked the question, would love to know your viewpoint on moving from Phuket to Turtle Beach, the good and the not so good points, as you were in Phuket for such a long time. Okay, look, I have had a very happy and successful move from the increasingly busy tourist island of Phuket to a very, very much slower and sparse Turtle Beach. I live on a beachfront. I've established a little sort of short-term rental accommodation business. I've got 3 properties here. Still sort of trying to work out the business, but it's doing okay so far. I'm keeping myself busy. And the only way you can survive by moving to these remote locations is to make sure you've got something to do. So in Phuket, I've still got all my friends there. I mean, they haven't suddenly vanished, and they come up and visit me from time to time. I've got a whole lot of them coming up next Sunday, not tomorrow, but next Sunday for our annual Eurovision celebration, watching the finals and having a good laugh. So I've got quite a few friends coming up next week. It's for me, it's been very successful, and I'm very happy here. But I know there have been a few other people that have moved up here that I've got to meet and know. And I know at least two of them who are moving back. They've only been here 3, 4, 5 months. And Turtle Beach is not for them. And they're going, well, elsewhere. I don't know. So for me, it's been fine. But you don't move to Udon Whoop Whoop or up to remote Thailand, as beautiful as it is. You don't go and move to a remote beach, because looking at the beach is great for 5 minutes a day, but you can't do it all day, every day. You need something to do. If you don't have a hobby, if you don't have things to do, if you're not busy with some sort of business, then just don't do it, because you're not going to be happy. And look, for some people, they may be looking for their Turtle Beach, this sort of mythical place in their mind where they think they're going to be happy. If you're not happy in the first place, you're not going to find happiness just by moving to a remote beach. But for me, it's been a very happy move, and I'm very happy. Great content, says John. I like the presentation. Sorry you got demonetized by the tube gods. Don't be scared. I'm not scared. A nomad overseas. If you're in Bangkok, then give Bangkok Pat a shout. He loves the old cats. Always put them in the vids. Bangkok Pat, very interesting vlogger. And one of the probably more notable vloggers, worth catching up on his videos, given that he does present sort of the history of parts of Thailand and parts of Bangkok in a very professional way. So I'd recommend his channel. Does that question relate to the upcoming remake of Soylent Green? I have no comment. You're now in my Thai neighbourhood, says True Blue Thai, we have many dogs and cats running free, not really looked after. I greet them, so show them affection, so when they see me, they run to greet me. Yep, that's the way most dogs and cats are. A nomad overseas, let's be honest, if anyone's really going to cancel their trip because they need to pay an extra tenner, I agree. I don't think this tourism tax is going to stop a single person. Well, really. It shouldn't stop a single person from travelling to Thailand. I think what people are worried about is how it's going to be collected and how it's going to be spent. But remembering that you've been paying a departure tax when you leave Thailand for, as far as I can see, about at least 20 years or so. So if you start complaining about a $10 arrival tax, then perhaps you shouldn't be here. Comment from Richard Townsend. There's already a tax in place, 700 baht, but includes in-ticket, so not noticeable. Yeah, it's a 700 baht departure tax that you've been paying. I think it was 500 baht, then about 15 years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, it went up to 700 baht. Nobody notices. Nobody complains. Frank in Thailand saying there's a starting xenophobic trend going on. Oh, look, I don't think so, Frank in Thailand. I don't think... there's always been an element of this sort of Thai xenophobia, but generally I found Thais very welcoming. It's like anywhere in the world. If you treat people well, if you're polite, you smile, you engage, you don't rub them up the wrong way. I've never gone to sleep thinking, oh, the Thais are out to get me. Never thought that at all. So I have to I disagree with you, Frank. I'm sorry. Wilco, yes, Penang beaches are terrible and not very clean. LT Dave, is that Lieutenant Dave? Tim, in the Philippines, we have the same problem. In my wife's province, maybe worse, with the street dogs. We've adopted 3 of them, plus 1 female kitten who we feed and may be already pregnant. That's what happened when we took in Dina. Dina was already pregnant. We didn't know until we had those 5 beautiful kittens, which all got great homes, we're glad to say. Very happy to say that we rehomed them. Dina did a magnificent job of bringing up those cats. Cost of living in Thailand compared to the US. You can live well, happy, comfortable here for half the price to rent a garage in the US. That's from Stephen Lance Stoll. Look, there's no doubt you can live in Thailand a lot cheaper than what you might be able to do in the vast majority of Western countries. Having said that, is that going to make you happy? I don't know. Is spending the least amount as possible your aim? Well, yeah, maybe you can achieve that here in Thailand. If you really want to spend less, then maybe go and live in Pakistan or parts of India. Or maybe you can go and live in, I don't know, parts of Africa. It might even be cheaper. If you want to find the cheapest place to live, well, good luck to you. Thailand is generally cheaper than most Western countries for most services, but not all. And some people have noted that it's become more expensive over the last couple of years. Where in the world hasn't it become more expensive over the last couple of years? I haven't ever woken up thinking, oh my God, Thailand's much more expensive than it used to be. I mean, the costs have crept up. But I'm getting more money from YouTube than I used to. My wages are higher now than they used to be. So, costs go up, and there are dips and troughs and rises and falls. But I haven't really noticed that it's become any less livable from a cost of living point of view than it used to be. Sakon Nakhon is generally much cheaper, says Wilco. Good, and I'm glad you've found a place that you love and that fits your budget. Again, just going to live in remote Thailand is not going to suit everybody. If you do crave perhaps beaches, or you crave sort of a nightlife, or perhaps good restaurants, or where you got friends. You may not want to move because you may have friends where you're living in Thailand. A nomad overseas says prices are on the up everywhere. Girlfriend lives in Pattaya and said room rent has gone up about 2,000 baht, it's probably per month, in the past few months. Hans Rose says good morning to you and the cats and the sweet dog. Back to Europe for a while. Good luck in your journeys, Hans. You speak good Victorian, says Wilco. Well, I came from the state of Victoria in Australia, so I don't think I speak my usual Australian accent. I sort of have a bit of a mid-Pacific accent. I think that I've cultured over the past 13 years here, speaking in a way that Thais and other people can understand me. Okay, Hard Tulip. Did you work for the American Fox News Corporation when you worked for Fox radio station in Melbourne? Is it owned by Rupert Murdoch? So politically you are centre-right. Whoa. Fox FM in Melbourne was not owned by the Fox network. Nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it at all. Fox is owned by Austereo. It's not owned by Rupert Murdoch. They owned, well, at the time, and this is going back about 20 years, they owned Fox FM, Gold FM and Triple M FM. We operated out of the studios in St Kilda Road, and we used to do news. I was working in the news area, and we'd serve the 3 radio stations. So we had 3 booths, and you had to make sure you went into the right booth. And we had different news copy because the 3 stations had different demographics. So we used to sort of write the news. It was shorter for Triple M, which was sort of male, younger, rock and roll sort of music, than Gold FM, which was an older cross-sex sort of audience, and we had longer news and different sort of stories. But nothing to do with Fox. It's that you are centre-right, so politically. I'm not politically anything. I'm probably politically left generally with most of the ways that I sort of see the world. But we don't usually sort of get into hard politics on this channel. I certainly don't really like talking about US politics because it's extremely polarising. And in the same way that people complain about Thai politics, let's leave it for the Thais to work out. The same with the US politics. It's up for US citizens to sort out. And I understand that the former Australian, Rupert Murdoch, who's now a US citizen, I think he's recently got engaged again at 96 years old or something. Good luck, Rupert. He did found the Fox network with Roger Ailes, and he came up with a formula for news by shifting the focus to one political extreme and catering just for those people, serving the news that they want to hear and monetizing that with advertisers. He was able to garner a huge chunk of one particular audience. By doing so, he forced a lot of the other news channels over to the other side politically. And this caused a lot of polarization in US news, which is a problem that they're going to have to sort out at some stage. It's going to be a long time. It's going to take some smart people doing some good news, which people can get some sort of confidence in. Now, it doesn't help when one particular politician coined the word fake news and started accusing different news networks of fake news. And there's probably no greater contributor to fake news than Fox News over the years. Provably, and because they've had to pay so many fines for misjudgments in their news service, much more than any other news corporation in the United States. So as an Australian, I apologise for foisting Rupert Murdoch on you, because he has really done more to contribute to this polarised political atmosphere in the United States. So I hope I really haven't said anything terribly political, just stating the importance and the focus of what's happened because of Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes weaponising political news on their cable news channel. I had a whole lot of stories to go. No, I'll talk about the YouTubers. I'm not even going to get to these stories, but there you go. So the YouTubers, we've had two YouTubers during the week. Duang Pantawong says Steve Ross seems to speak Thai pretty decent. No, Steve speaks Thai very well. I think Steve speaks Thai not quite as well as he thinks he does. Anyway, he does speak very good Thai. His Thai is 100% better than mine. But yes, Steve does speak Thai, and he lived in Thailand for quite a long time, years and years ago, and he's now got a person who works for him who doesn't speak any English, so he gets a chance to practice his Thai every day. So yes, Steve speaks very good Thai compared to me, for sure. There seems to be a lot of Russians living in Phuket. Is there any tension between them and the Thais? This is from Curry Olin Kangas. I think the media has made more out of these tensions than there actually is. Look, every time there are foreigners who are running businesses either illegally or legally, there can be tensions. And these tensions are often baked up by the media, including me. When we see these stories, we do tend to read them, and it perhaps makes out the story to be a lot worse than it actually is. At the moment, it's got a lot of Russians living in Phuket, but in the past there was more British people, more Australians, and more Chinese, and it changes, and the demographics change from time to time. There are, I think, there's a bit of a clean out to do. There's been a sudden rush of Russians moving to Phuket, and many of them are staying there as expats, maybe for the short term or the long term. And any time you get a sudden change in the demographics in a small area like that, there's going to be a few ructions. I don't think there's any huge... I mean, No, I don't. There are tensions, but it's not as if there's about to be a civil war or anything. And the officials are exposing and raiding a lot of the illegal places, but they've been doing this for years. And it's not just Russians, it's plenty of other nationalities that have got illegal businesses. So I don't think it is a profound problem any greater than it's been for other nationalities in the past. That's my opinion. Okay. Yes, Steve speaks Thai pretty well, says Corey Jackson, and hello to you, Corey. Hi, Tim. Hello, Corey. And it was from the Snipes. Oh, it's going down a whole lot of other... God, so there's more questions than I can possibly get to, and I'm doing my best. My hobby is RC aeroplanes. Great fun. That's from Ty Draper. And thank you, Ty, for your very generous donation this morning. Remote control aeroplanes. Have you got like a big remote control aeroplane or just smaller ones? I used to fly my own plane. I found photos the other day of me and my plane. I'll see if I can drag some of those out. I mean, somebody might be interested. Probably most of you are not. Just before we go today, I just wanted to share a file with you. Oh, am I talking about the YouTubers? The YouTubers. So there was this British YouTuber who got himself in a world of trouble by making videos on his YouTube channel, pretty much just dissing Thailand. He was living up in Pai. And so there was somebody, I don't know, I can't even remember his name, and I don't want to sort of mention channel names or anything, I just want to talk about it generally. But another YouTuber decided to cut out pieces of this English YouTuber, a young guy, maybe about 25, 30, cut out pieces of some of his videos and put them all together, and it didn't look good for the English YouTuber. It made him out to be a sort of a whining, a bitchy, unhappy, quarrelsome sort of person. Now, he can't really deny what he's saying, but he did do quite an extensive apology video, which you may or may not have seen. And he's been sort of dragged through the pages of some of the forums in Thailand and probably come out not terribly well. I don't think he's got a long stay in Thailand ahead of him. But it does show you, as YouTubers, we do need to be careful what we're saying, because I suppose somebody could cut out bits of what I'm saying from time to time and make out that I'm really unhappy about living in Thailand. I'm delighted about living in Thailand, and I do try and preface any of my remarks with certain cautions and try and make sure they're fairly balanced if they are opinions. But once you've said something on YouTube, it's sitting out there for everybody to watch and comment on, including Thai officials. So we do need to be careful. And some people dragging the issue of free speech into it. You're talking about a private company, YouTube. Well, it was started as a private company. It's now, publicly traded, and it's owned by Google. But at the end of the day, they can make the rules the way they want to. And if they don't want you talking about this or that, well, that's their decision to make. And you don't have any rights of free speech on somebody else's channel. If a publication runs a forum and you don't like the way that they moderate that forum, well, that's your problem, not theirs, and they're entitled to run their forum the way that they want. With my YouTube channel, people sort of roughly know the vibe, and I welcome differences of opinions, but if people attack other people, that's one thing that I don't like, and I will make sure we'll just ban those people from commenting. So, this poor English guy, he's really got himself in a bit of a pickle. Then yesterday, there was the story about the American fitness YouTuber. He was quite a big YouTuber, 2.5 million subscribers. Now, a lot of his material was, I think you could describe as clickbait. And it appears from what other YouTubers have said about him, who know him, that he may have some mental health challenges. And we can only wish him well as he wades his way through those particular challenges. But look, I have to say that again, you put something on YouTube, you're either going to have to live by it and put up with the criticism, and if it means that you're going to be held accountable by Thai officials and immigration, well, so be it. So we all just need to be careful, and YouTube is probably one of the better known areas where people can air their thoughts on the best pad Thai, the history of Bangkok, what they think about where the good shopping centres are, living up in northeastern Thailand. I mean, whatever topic you're going to do, or in my case, basically rereading other people's published news, you just got to be a little bit careful about what you say, because it can be held against you in the future. So YouTubers behaving badly became some of the news on YouTube during the week. And I do whatever I can to try and avoid that sort of controversy, but I get dragged into it from time to time when I do hold an opinion, and people will go out of their way to make your life unpleasant if they choose to. And you know who you are. Question, what is the status of the fourth rental? Eileen Morris Duke, thank you very much. So I don't have much to say about that. It's still sort of in the making, but it's not happening yet. I haven't signed a contract, but it might be happening. But I've got some problems that we've discovered about that property since I was first mentioning it. So look, it may not go ahead, but we don't know. True Blue Tie, excuse Tim, as a bright man, I don't believe you. If you learnt one word a day, you would be so much further forward. You must be jealous of Steve, an older man speaks Thai. Well, he's 1 year older. Look, I have tried. If you learnt one word a day, I was learning more than one word a day, but it would go in one ear and out the other. I just don't seem to be able to learn Thai. I understand some people learn other languages very well. If you don't believe me, True Blue Tie, I can't do anything to change your opinion, but I have tried. Am I jealous of Steve? I'm not necessarily jealous of him. I congratulate him for being able to speak Thai. And clearly, he's got the brain cells that are more receptive to learning foreign languages. I don't think I'm particularly dim, but I just don't seem to be able to learn it in the same way that I wasn't able to learn French over 7 years. Scott D, when did your wife finally turn the heat off in the summer? Colin says, if I'd known I was paying a departure tax when I visited Thailand in late 2022, I would have stayed. Fair comment. Steve Massingham, current exchange rate for the Brits is £6.50 extra. Current exchange rate for the Brits. A lot of European countries cost several euros a night tourist tax. Okay, Steve, I've sort of missed what you're talking about there. £6.50, I don't know how that converts to anything in particular. If you're talking about tourist taxes, if that's a tourist tax that people pay going to Britain, I don't know. But thank you. Yep, I remembered that 500 baht departure tax about 2 decades ago. Yes, it is now 700 baht. I think it's been at least 15 years. Frank in Thailand says, True Blue Thai, how is your knowledge of the periodic table? Do you know pi in full? Nope, not everyone can do anything. 3.14159. It's about as far as I go with pi. Spain is cheap too. Yeah, I think I know quite a few people that have moved to Spain. A nomad overseas, I noticed a huge difference with Thailand and the Philippines. Soy dogs in Thailand, average person will make sure that they're okay. In the Philippines, the poor brutes are left to rot on the streets. Fun Size Media says, Portugal is calling me. Frank in Thailand says, Tim Newton, more xenophobia in the Thai English news. You might have to give me a particular story. Look, it comes up from time to time. It's an easy news story when there's not a lot happening. Talking about foreigners behaving badly, I think, is easy media that is going to get plenty of clicks. Okay, question from Peter Steele. Is USD 2,200 per month enough for two people? Would this give you a reasonable standard in BKK or Phuket? From Peter Steele. Look, maybe. I don't think you're going to be living a life of luxury, but you would be able to survive on that. But you'd probably get more bang for your buck if you moved out of the touristy areas in Phuket or the touristy areas in Pattaya or Bangkok as well. And there's parts of the island which are quite cheap. I used to live in a part where I could still get a pad thai for 50 or 60 baht. Whereas if you went to the west coast of Phuket, you might be paying 150 or 200 baht for exactly the same pad thai. Same situation all over Thailand, quite a variation in prices. So Peter, I would say if you're thinking of moving to Thailand on a budget, you need to come and spend at least 2 or 3 months having a test run, going to some places that are a bit different, finding out the places that suit you, and finding out where you're getting better bang for your buck, because they are there and they're to be found, but you've got to make sure that you'd be happy to live there. Becoming rich is easier today than ever. You just have to work hard for it unless you're given it, says Intrepid. A nomad overseas, I think the Thai approach re soy dogs is tied into Buddhism. I think you're absolutely correct, but at least they will actively take care of the doggies and the soy cats as well. The Aussie Kiwi, look out, Steve, will be looking for a good home, but take him to the vet first. Good morning, Tim. Greetings from Ratchaburi, says Black Hibiscus. And blah, 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 blah. Used to like Gold FM, says Fun Cart Media. I don't even know if the station exists anymore, as I have no idea what's going on in Australia these days. Somebody the other day said, "Oh, what's the name of the Australian Prime Minister?" I had to really think. But I mean, I just don't know what's going on in Australia. It's sort of not important to me. This is where I live, so I'm much more interested in what is happening with Thai politics, because that directly affects me on a day-to-day basis. Tim Scott, I think you've been extremely generous. Tim, thank you very much for your generosity. That's very, very kind indeed. And he says, just because it's a great show. Okay, so look, thank you very much. These Saturday morning shows are a bit of a turkey shoot. I go to the show with a whole lot of things. I'll show you on my computer. This is the page. Where do we go? Go press that, then press that. So this is all the things I had to talk about, and I've done absolutely none of them today. So it just shows you what can happen. I did my best to sort of plan for the program, but as much as I plan, I really don't know what's going to happen until we press that button. Thank you very, very much, Tim. Tim Scott, all the way from, I take it, the US. And Tor Pedersen says, you must have a hobby or something and pass the time. I have an old stereo from the 70s. Sansui receiver, 8-track, reel-to-reel, mini-disc, and have great days with 70s rock. Tor, thank you very much. And we're actually in the little Airbnb behind me, which is called Bamboo Beach House. We've got a turntable, and we've got about 10 records. Thank you very much to Norel and those people that have donated those. And people do enjoy playing those, and so do I from time to time, remembering the way that we used to consume music, which takes me, I suppose, finally to this. And it's gone. How can I find it again? There we go. See if I can find this file. The other day I found a piece of software which was sort of amazing to me, in that you could plug in a few words. I plugged in the word pop, and then I put moving to the beach from the city. That is all I put in. Pop being the genre of music, and then moving to the sea from the city as the topic. I'm going to play you the file. It goes for about 1 minute, okay? Now, I also put my own pictures of surf that I just took over the road a few days ago. So my pictures of video, the song is completely put together by the cogs and the wheels inside a computer. There's been no one writing the lyrics. There's been no one writing the music. There's been no one performing the song. There's been no musicians, no producers. And a computer, just on its own, has come up with this. You may not like the music, but just consider that a computer, from a few minor prompts, pop, comma, moving to the sea from the city, that's the only information I gave it, and it came up with this. I hope this works, and I hope you'll be able to hear it. So I've got to press that, and here we go.
Sky's so clear when I'm near you, as we stroll through the sand, simple waves that we pass, ocean breeze feeling true. I know I made the right move to the coast with you. I got peace in my heart, found my start where the seagulls died. City lights now far behind, the stars above guide the choice I love. At the beachfront, joy we find, trading concrete for the shore, embracing tides forevermore.
What do you think? As I said, that was completely generated by artificial intelligence. Now, this is just a new website. These situations are going to improve. We're going to be speaking more about it on Grumpy Old Men tomorrow, about this new form of creativity. Whatever you think about it, it may not be spectacular yet, but it is getting better. And as I mentioned on my Facebook page, it's a bit cheesy, and the lyrics are a bit clumsy, but the singing was great. It was harmonised, it had instrumentation, it was quite catchy in many ways. It just shows you that in the future, the way that we listen to music and the sort of music we listen to is going to change. So I got quite a lot of gastric reflux today. What was in that coffee? So I will be interested to see. We're going to talk about it more with Steve tomorrow, but if you think about it, it maybe it's just another evolution. It's just another progression in music. I don't think it's the end of music as we know it. Maybe it is some sort of progression to the future. Sounds like K-pop, says Ty Draper. The app's name is, I can't remember the name of the app. I'll try and find out. I've heard two cats fucking with more harmony. But again, forget, you may not like the particular song that it's come up with, but it is in tune, perfectly serviceable, catchy, sort of pop power ballad type style. Sounds like K-pop, says Ty Draper, except it's not in Korean. Sounds like the Korean boy band BTS, says Wilco. Can Steve talk about his two sons? He doesn't have two sons. Okay, somebody asked an interesting question I thought was interesting. Castillavetro. Tim, is it true you're married to a man? No. Oh my goodness. AI, walk this way. Yes, it is AI. It's true AI. In other words, it is artificial, but it is some sort of intelligence that's able to make music. Now, I could have said rock and roll, 70s style, are moving to the beach from the city. And it would have come up with a rock and roll version. I mean, as I said, you may not like the style, but there you go. Larry in the world, thank you very, very much for your kind and your generous donation. That's very gets me. Look, I mean, I don't sort of call for these super chats, and I'm very grateful when they appear. Thank you so much. It does obviously just make things a bit more. Well, it makes. This is my business, and these are part of my business. I don't expect the donations, but they're a wonderful surprise when they happen. Key J says, thank you, Larry, in the world. The way I see it, it's going to bifurcate culture in the future. We're going to have bespoke content for the rich and AI-generated content for the rest of us. Interesting way. And again, we're going to have, this is going to be a focus of our conversation tomorrow on Grumpy Old Men, because I think, obviously, Steve and I have spent 60 or so years watching great creativity in writing, in the arts, in movies, in film, in music, and we've been able to consume that and enjoy it. And now we're sort of seeing this new sort of genre of music, or a sort of a technological stumble forward, and we're going to say what we think about it and see what you think about it. Holy shit, that computer AI music, I'm not starting to believe in the Terminator. Was it Oz? Hey, Wilco, I agree, BTS. Well, it's not in English. It was in English, by the way. Good start on a Saturday. Thank you very much. I forgot my turntable. Is the music then copyright free? Yes, it's copyright free. So I was able to play that on my YouTube channel, and I won't be flagged for it because it's an original composition by a piece of AI. Now, if the AI had published it, they could claim copyright on it. But essentially, I'm the one who owns the copyright, or do I? Oh, see, there's an interesting quandary, isn't it? Sounds better than AC/DC, says Steve Zodiac. Oh, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. John, Tim, you put up with a lot of bullshit with some of the remarks, and you should be lauded for your unbridled patience and ability to roll with life. There's no choice. You get to 65, you just roll with the punches, and they come from here and there, and you put your face on YouTube, you're going to have to put up with plenty of it. But yeah, I do my best. AI tuned by Time Lung Beach Boy. I know Matt overseas says, I used AI to generate blog posts, but it's going to become a problem in a few years. It'll become a copy of a copy of a copy as AI keeps pulling from existing content. Steve Ross with an E owes us a few more jokes. Please remind him. Unplug AI from the internet and then ask it. Well, I mean, a musician's got to have food. For AI, it's a power supply. And again, it's all very well to say, oh, I don't like AI. But it's here, and it's here to stay. So let's try and be a little bit more intelligent with our comments about AI. Talk about the good and the bad and the possibilities and the distractions or the potential challenges and problems we see ahead, because it's up to all of us to learn to live with this and see how we can perhaps use AI to better our lives, choose the bits of AI that we think are going to benefit humans generally or ourselves specifically. But I thought I'd share that with you. Just a couple of prompts into a computer program, and it's churned out a perfectly serviceable, although only 1 minute long, piece of music. But you could play that on the radio, I don't know, 20 years ago, and people said, oh, that sounds catchy. It may not have suited everybody, but it might have made the charts. Then again, these days, you're not going to have anything that makes the charts unless it's got a very good video going with it as well. I mean, music industry has turned into pretty much a video industry. If you don't have pictures to go with the music, your music just doesn't get an airing these days. And that's another challenge in the music industry. I mean, the studio muso, who is going to be releasing music that doesn't have images? I have a favourite cover band at the moment. My goodness, they're good. The best cover band I've ever seen. They particularly do, I'm trying to remember their names now, Earth, Wind and Fire covers and Chicago. They're the two main bands that they cover. And they cover them very accurately and very, very well. I think they're called Leonid and Friends. Leonid and Friends, I think they're called. And it's a group of about 20 people, Russians, and they've covered those bands spectacularly well. Have a look up Leonid, Leonid and Friends on YouTube. You're going to be amazed by the sound they're making. But their videos are just them playing the music and wearing their sort of normal civilian clothes. Civilian clothes, not that they wouldn't be, but just wearing their normal casual clothes and covering some great music. But again, I wouldn't have heard of Leonid and Friends unless I was watching YouTube. And YouTube is pictures and sound. Heiko Homburg, be careful about AI music compositions. There are companies that claim they have the copyright, even if you created it yourself using AI. It's their business model. That may be what happens in the future, but it's not really the situation now. But Heiko, you're right in what you say. We do need to be careful about who is claiming the copyright on these and reading the fine print before you start having fun with some of these websites, because maybe they will claim copyright in the future. Callum Gilmore, thank you very much for your kind generosity. Have a few coffees on me. I'm enjoying it's starting to get a bit cool. Anyway, let's leave the discussion about AI for grumpy old men tomorrow. Let's start sort of wrapping up. AI can help you save time so you can do other things in life, says Mission Creek Style. You can also harness it to create creative ideas. Awesome support for the channel. Yes, thank you very, very much to those super chats we've had today. Mine I had to do 30 seconds at a time, says Luxurious Aurus. Feed the AI with the worst comments and let it sing them to a catchy tune. Always a pleasure watching you, Tim. Total respect from Victoria Down Under. Oh, from Vic Down Under. Are you from Victoria or is your name Vic? I'm sorry, I don't know. Wayne Sitards will be lulled into acceptance. Resistance is futile. All-girl ELO cover band called Shelo. Okay, I'm going to check that one out as well, because I used to enjoy ELO as a band for sure. Being a creative in the music industry, that 60 seconds of AI music was the most terrifying thing I think I've ever heard. And that's from Funkbringer. A terrifying in that, oh my God, it's actually okay and it's going to take over my job, or terrifying, I've never heard anything worse. But thank you very much. Maybe a Tim and Steve duet of the tune. Now, I actually stumbled on this because I was trying to do a theme song for Grumpy Old Men. And we might share some of those tomorrow as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing with AI. I'm thinking that it has a use. If not, I'm trying to find a use. If not, I'm trying to learn about it, trying to form an opinion about it, trying to follow the trends with AI so that I can make some sort of informed comment about it in the future. Callum Gilmore, in my opinion, AI will take away people's power of using their brains to solve and create. I'm not sure if it's not going to just turn our brains to mush, but it might give us different things to think about. It might be able to think about some of the more difficult and complex things for us. As far as generating different... I think they've already found out that AI has been able to find new solutions for some cancer treatments. Anyway, I'm probably speaking out of my ass on that one. I think there are going to be some things that AI is going to be able to do as far as going through different computations and different versions of the same thing thousands of times a minute rather than humans sitting down and drawing things out on a blackboard. I think there are some things that it's going to do very well and other things that we're going to find quite worrying. Be assured that there will be scammers that are already working on ways that they can use AI to extract money from you. Be assured about that. Hit that like button at least 3 times, but keep it uneven. 579. Not quite sure what you mean there. A music critic complained that AC/DC made a dozen albums that all sounded the same. Angus Young responded, "Bullshit, we made 13 albums." That's from Eogan. Yeah, look, some bands, they got their sound, they got their genre, and you listen to the albums one after another, and yeah, they sort of sound the same. But AC/DC certainly sound unique. I might type into the little engine I've got, this AI music engine, sounding like AC/DC, and see what it pumps out the other end. And KJ, final comment, there definitely will be some use for AI, but we need to be more critical and look at who is pushing the AI hype and how they'll benefit. And Wazza Oz said, HSCC, great cover band from Australia. Yes, I enjoy their stuff as well. But as far as quality, sheer quality of musicianship and the way it's been recorded and mixed, very hard to go past this Leonard and Friends. I hope I got that right. I hope you get a chance to check them out, as well as HSCC. There's other cover bands on YouTube, and great to relive, music that may have been written or recorded 40, 50, 60 years ago that's been recorded with modern production techniques, and it just sounds amazing. Put those headphones on, soak it in, and enjoy. And with that, from AI Central here in Turtle Beach, we've got Grumpy Old Men coming tomorrow. We will be talking about AI, talking about creativity, looking at ways that I think Steve is probably more of a Luddite than I am in regards to AI. I sort of find it exciting. But Steve's certainly got some very interesting and thought-provoking ideas on AI, and we look forward to discussing those. I don't know where we're going to be doing the program, but we'll be doing it today. I can promise you it will be air-conditioned. I thank you all very much for dropping in. Good heavens, it's been an hour and a half. If you've got an hour and a half to spend having a chat, you're a better man than me, or woman. So thank you to you all for dropping in. Thank you to those super chats. I'm humbled and very grateful. We've got Grumpy Old Men tomorrow, then back to our YouTuber Behaving Well program, Monday to Friday next week, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you for joining us today.